Hi everyone, today we are doing coordinate trig. So we're looking at specific points. So example 1, let's -4 through -3 be a point on the terminal side of theta. So first we need to draw -4, -3. So that's -1, 2, 3, 4, -3. Alright, so we're going to plot that point. So step 1 will be to plot your point. Then what's most important is that you have to remember that your angles always stem from the origin, okay? So we'll say connect to origin. And then you need to draw your triangle. So remember that a reference angle is always the angle from your terminal side to the x-axis. And that's how we make our right triangle. And theta is right on the inside. So step 3 will be to make your triangle with the x-axis. So this is the point -4, -3, which means I went -4 negative to the left for x and -3 for y. Alright, and that makes up my triangle. So now I have to find my hypotenuse, and I do that using the Pythagorean Theorem. So -3 squared plus -4 squared equals c squared. And that is 25 equals c squared. Take the square root, you get c equals 5. Remember, the hypotenuse is always positive, but your x and your y are able to be negative because we're talking a specific spot, so we went to the left and down. So once you get 5, you can come up with your 6 trig functions, okay? And those 6 trig functions are sine, cosine, tangent. So we have our 3 main ones, and then we have our reciprocal one. So that's cosecant, secant, cotangent. So when we're doing coordinate trig, we're also doing SOHCAHTOA. Right? These are right triangles. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that's -3 over 5. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so adjacent is -4 over 5. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So -3 divided by -4 is positive 3/4, right? And negative divided by negative is a positive. So now I just have to find the reciprocals. So that's -5/3, because remember, we write these next to each other because they're reciprocals. Secant and cosine are reciprocals, so you have -5 over 4 and 4/3. Alright, so the only new piece here is that you have to draw it in the right spot, because we're looking at a point that's on the terminal side. So here I have -5, 12. So that's -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12. Okay, it doesn't even really have to be exact. You just have to know that you are connecting it, you're plotting the point, you're connecting it to the origin, and you're making a triangle with the x-axis. Your angle is always between the terminal side and the x-axis. So this time I went -5 up 12 to get to this point here, which is at -5, 12. So again, we have to find the hypotenuse. So -5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. So 169 equals c squared, which makes c equal to 13, because the square root is 13. So once I have all 3 sides, I can find my 6 trig functions. So sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, cosecant, secant, I'm running out of room, and cotangent. So, again, SOHCAHTOA, where sine is opposite over hypotenuse. And remember, you're starting with this angle. So that's opposite over hypotenuse is 12 over 13. Cosine is adjacent, so -5 over 13. And tangent is opposite over adjacent, so negative 12/5. To find the reciprocals, we just take each fraction. So 13 over 12, negative 13 over 5, and negative 5 over 12. And that's it. So that's how you do coordinate trigonometry. If you are not so sure about that, I suggest you rewatch one of those examples and be ready to do problems just like that when we meet next. So we're just going to quickly review how to use our calculator because we have different types of angles. Negative 7 pi over 6 is a radian angle, right, because of that pi. So we need our calculator to be in radian mode. And when we type it in, there's no cotangent button, so that's 1 over the tangent of negative 7 pi over 6. And we're going to type that in. So I want you to do this with me. Go to mode, go to radian mode, and you're going to do 1 divided by the tangent, and it was negative 7. Pi is right here, so you're going to go second to the caret key, which is pi, divided by 6. You get 1.732. So cosecant, well, this is degree because that's 495 degrees. This one's pi, so it's radians. Well, while I'm in radians, I'm going to go to part C because I'm lazy and I don't want to switch it twice. Let's just switch it once. So what's the reciprocal of secant? Cosine. I know you were thinking that out loud. So 23 pi over 6. Because again, we don't have buttons for secant. This is a reciprocal function. So 1 over the cosine of 23 pi over 6. You get 1.155. So since this one's in degrees and it's cosecant, it's 1 over sine of 495. But the only way we can do it is if we change the mode back to degrees. And we do 1 over the sine. Oops, I need to retype that. 1 divided by the sine of 495. You get 1.414. So that does it for our notes. I hope you had just as much fun as I did.